Alright guys, so in this video I'm going to be teaching what I call the Sandyman warp route for Unexpected Party. Basically, I'm starting from here, where I just got the hammer from Carl, because there are a few things I need to explain about Sandyman, and about how his cutscenes work. Now, normally what happens is, if you were to go to Sandyman and you don't have both the hammer and the nails, this is what he'll do. It'll trigger this cutscene that it's supposed to trigger. And that's what's supposed to happen if you hit that area while you don't have the hammer and nails. So that's not a glitch or anything. And normally, if you've gotten the nails and you go to that area, so I'll go ahead and show that off. Normally, if you've gotten the hammer and nails and you go to that area and try to talk to him, then it will not trigger the Bridges Out cutscene, which you'll see here. I break the nails, and then let me just hang out in here for a second and get some of these courage points. Because normally during this time the game would expect you to be going and getting the hammer, because it expects you to get the nails first. And then that happens, where it just goes straight to the good lad cutscene like that. Now for some reason there's a small glitch when it comes to getting both of the items. I did not kill myself like I wanted to. I actually want to kill myself so I can go back. There's a small glitch when it comes to getting both of these items, and that's for some reason, if you get the hammer and nails, and then get back to Sandyman in time, it will trigger both those cutscenes. It will trigger the Bridges Out cutscene and the Good Lad cutscene, and it won't warp you straight to him, but when you talk to him, it will trigger the Bridges Out cutscene, so you'll have to skip that first. We can use this slightly to our advantage, so I'll show what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be getting the nails, and then immediately going out and talking to Sandyman, and during those cutscenes, I'm going to be setting my clip warp by just skipping them a bit slower, so I'll wait like 2/3 of a second for each cutscene, so like this, kind of. And that way now my warp is set right in front of Sandyman. Now, it's important that you try to keep your clip warp over there, so what we're going to be doing next for the rest of the level, or for a little while for the rest of the level, is we're going to be holding our clip warp over there. So I'll teach exactly how to do all these areas so that you hold your clip warp. Number one, in order to get past Bomber like that, to not trigger his cutscene, you just want to kind of run around like I just did. These chests are pretty easy to hold your clip warp in. The berry patch and the chicken coop are the two hard parts to hold your clip warp in. The berry patch is pretty easy. What you do is you go this way, and as soon as you load the berry patch, you want to head in and run and get these berries. Now, if you mash the jump button, most likely Sandyman won't hear you. And you can use that to your advantage by just kind of grabbing the berries and mashing the jump button so that he doesn't hear you. Now, once he gets to here, you can just kind of run behind him and not get caught like that. It's pretty easy. As long as you're mashing the jump button, again, he won't hear you. And then you want to do the scarecrows. The scarecrows are pretty easy to do while holding your clip warp. You just kind of mash A and B together, the way I am. And then you go back here, you get this needle from behind the haystack, and you go talk to this guy, skip his cutscene real quick, and continue jumping. Now what we're going to do is we're going to head to the chicken coop, and again, the chicken coop can be pretty hard to keep your clip warp in. There are two ways to do this. One is slightly faster, but is much harder to do, and one is a bit slower. The first way, which is a bit faster, is to just jump back here and jump straight into the eggs from right here and then jump out. The other way to do it is, instead of going straight to the eggs, kind of going into the back corner and then jumping slowly to the eggs and then collecting them and then jumping back out. And again, if you mash the jump button, they most likely won't hear you. Now what you want to do once you've gotten the eggs is you want to head over this way. And you want to jump into this kid, skip his cutscene, and keep jumping. And then you want to turn your camera over here toward these haystacks, because this is where you can clip warp. And if you just kind of jump into this area and hold your joystick forward, you should clip in. If you don't clip in immediately, try it again, and you should be able to clip in. Now what's going to happen is you're going to get warped back to Sandyman. And this doesn't seem like anything that would really help you out. I mean, everything looks pretty much the same. But head away from Sandyman and head up this hill now. And what we're going to do is we're going to go all the way up the hill. And we're going to go to the butter churn shed first. And we're going to give this lady her butter churn by bringing it from the shed to her porch. You can grab those 5 coins that are back in there if you want. But basically, you're just going to bring the butter churn to her. And as I'm carrying the butter churn, you might notice something funny over here to my left, and that's that these gates are completely missing. And that's the advantage that Sandyman Warp has over warping all the way back to the house, is that even though it takes more time to get back to the house, it does end up saving time because these gates are unloaded. So I'll show that in a minute. But once you've given her the butter churn and talked to her to get the tea cakes, you go up here, you talk to Gammer, give her the needle you collected, and then we're going to head back in here, past this area that the gates would normally be at, and there are no gates here, so we can just head straight in. We're going to talk to this kid, and then instead of heading out and around to get to the apple orchard, we're just going to head straight behind him and straight through here to get to the apple orchard. Now, you don't want to fall from down here to the apple orchard. You want to head back here, and then do a long jump and jump attack and try to hit this kid and talk to her. And once you've done that, then you can head to the apple orchard. Now, again, there are 2 ways to knock down the apples in the apple orchard. You can either knock them down with your stones, which is self-explanatory, or you can knock them down with your stick, which is also pretty self-explanatory, if you know how to do it. And then you just head up to the apple orchard. Now, the thing with the apple orchard is, if you do Sandyman Warp, the trees are a little bit glitched, so, like, if you jump into them, you'll get stuck in them, and they'll act as a clip warp. Even though clip warping right now is essentially useless for anything. So now you're just going to head out of the apple orchard and back to the end of the level. You're going to have to give Bomber all of the food. Now, conveniently for us, since we avoided Bomber's cutscene earlier, you can just long jump here and hit his cutscene like that and then talk to him. And then you can just go over here and end the level after that. And as you can see, I did end up doing all of the quests here once you see it in a second. So yeah, that's all there is to that level.